Axis forces are approaching.
This is Grit and Valor, a diesel punk roguelite set in an alternate World War II timeline. I think it's pretty solid, and here's why. The first thing I'd like to touch on is the gameplay. Marketed as a real-time tactics game, I approached it with the mindset that I would be playing a solo StarCraft-esque experience. Ultimately, there are times where I feel like it hits this mark, but more often than not, I find myself playing it in a similar fashion to XCOM-style games, and I love that. Secondly, I'd like to talk about the story. Just as a lot of roguelite games set the stage, Grit and Valor introduces itself with a momentary overview of the plot. The game takes place in an alternate history timeline where Nazi Germany had more success during World War II, and now it's your responsibility to retaliate and fight for justice. There's not much more to speak on. It's interesting enough to contribute to some atmosphere, but more often than not, I find myself skipping through the minor dialogue. Due to the nature of roguelike games, the score for this category will get a small bump, as I believe the story is a backdrop for the gameplay. Next, I want to talk about the visual presentation. Grit and Valor has a really unique style that drew me in when it popped up in my Steam discovery queue. Leaning into the cartoony art style, it shifts the tone from a serious, story-driven RTS to something more akin to the early days of strategy games like Battalion Wars. I can understand if someone wanted a more gritty style to fit the title, but personally, I feel like this does well for me. As I was initially learning the game, it was clear what the objectives were, where my units were positioned, and where the enemies were coming from. I'm a big fan of the direction they went for the art in this game. For the penultimate topic, I'd like to touch on the difficulty and balance. Difficulty is an interesting subject when it comes to Grit and Valor. I'm currently sitting at about 15 hours in-game, and the only run that I was not able to complete was the initial run where I was intentionally not afforded a full team of mechs. I did a fair bit of grinding after that in order to ensure success, but so far if I had to pick a side of the fence, I would say that the game is somewhere between easy and intermediate difficulty. There's definitely meta progression you have to put some time into upgrading, but overall, if you are familiar with strategy games, this should not be too terribly difficult for you, and that's okay. The game feels fairly balanced, and in my opinion, I have yet to have something go wrong that felt completely out of my control. Lastly, I would like to touch on the meta progression. I've had such a blast with my time playing this game. Grit and Valor really encourages you to try different mech combinations, with each mech type having a short, medium, and long-ranged unit, all with different attributes. You can also purchase different gear to outfit your mechs with, and this adds more flavor and player power creep to the game, which ultimately got me hooked. I think I played 10 hours of the first campaign just because I was having so much fun trying all the different combinations of mechs to see how they could make up for each other's weaknesses. I ended up getting so deep into it that I was attempting to speedrun the first boss and having a great time doing it. Here's a clip of that. I'd like to say thanks for stopping by. If you played Grit and Valor, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Also, if you have any games you recommend I review, drop those in the comments as well. See you later.